Hello and welcome to a new season of Sailing Noomi. In this first episode I will tell you about sailing plans for the upcoming season, and I will also summarize the winter projects. Are you a person who likes to plan small and large projects? Or do you prefer to take things as they come? I enjoy diving into topics that interest me to increase my knowledge and understanding. In the previous season we had a long holiday sailing trip from Oslo all the way up to Lofoten and back again, which is well documented in this channel. You can find the link in the description of this video. In Season 2, which starts here, we will explore regatta sailing, boat and equipment optimizations, sail trim, weather phenomena, planning and executing regattas, and much more. If this is something you would like to learn more about, feel free to join in. Please subscribe to the channel, it's completely free and you will get notified every time I post new episodes. The focus of this year's season will be to participate in several large and small regattas in and around the Oslo Fjord and Skagerrak Ocean. As I record this video, Noomi is signed up for Skagenrace, Ferdigseilasen, Hollenderen and Silver Rudder as this year's definitive challenge. Here I will face some of the best single-handed sailors from all over Europe with 400 boats on the start line. The regatta goes around Funen in Denmark in September and it's about 130 nautical miles long. In addition to my participation, Noomi also need to be sailed down to Svendborg at Funen and back up to Oslo. Overall, this trip will likely be around 550 nautical miles. Furthermore, I will probably participate in some smaller day regattas in the Oslo Fjord, and of course we need to get out to train and test for this. There will also be some holiday sailing this year. The plans are not entirely clear yet, so we will need to come back on that in a later episode. So let's start by talking about what I've done to prepare Noomi now that we will participate more in race and regattas. We had our Hanse 345 for a couple of seasons, and a desire for something larger, preferably something a bit faster, with more options for sail and rig trimming, piqued my interest. X-yachts has always been close to my heart, as I think they have an interesting mix of performance and cruising yachts. The boats they have produced and continue to produce have great design, high quality, and are known for sailing well. I therefore started to hunt for a boat in the 40-foot class and ended up buying Noomi, who is a lovely lady from 2005 with production number 28 out of a total of 120 X40 builds. The boat was on the Hard in Østfold, Norway, and there was a lot to tackle. I might consider making a separate episode about all the work I've done to her, but in this episode we will stick what we can be related to the regatta sailing we are now entering. The first thing I noticed was that I unfortunately needed to put a lot of hours into the underwater hull. It had many layers of cracked old antifouling. I checked around regarding stripping it, but due to where the boat was located, and especially the time I had before launching, there was nothing else to do but to buy a scraper and a protective gear. All the old antifouling was scraped down to the primer, all wounds were filled and sanded, filled again and sanded again, before I applied 2 new layers of epoxy primer and then several thin layers of hard anti-fouling. I sand the anti-fouling a bit each year before I apply 2 new thin layers. The result was flawless, and Noomi is just as smooth underneath as her was back in 2005. The halyard on the boat were old and worn down, so I replaced all of them with Racing Dynema, which has a very high tensile strength for optimal utilization of the sails. The boat came with a whole range of sails, but I wanted to use the boat a bit to uncover the conditions of the sail and what was possibly missing for our use. After a season, I ordered a Code Zero last winter, which we used a lot on our Lofoten trip. This is a large downwind sail on a furler that also provides decent height on a beat in light winds. However, it's nothing close to the height we will achieve on a beat with a jib, but due to the size of the sail, we quickly get excellent boat speed on a slightly lower course. After last year's long trip, I had a review of the main sail and the head sail at the sail loft, and the conclusion was that the head sail has done its job and was ready to retirement as a cruising sail. I placed an order for new sails. These will soon be ready for pickup. In the next episode, you'll get to join me at the sailmaker when I pick up the sails. We will learn more about today's sail production, how they are designed, and pros and cons one must consider when making new sails for the boat. A new feature I have implemented on the boat before this season is to create one permanent installation of the barber hole for the jib sheet. An in-hole on the jib sheet can be used to pull the sheet point closer to the center line of the boat and a better angle when beating. In light winds you may lose some speed on this, but you will sail shorter distance and can therefore reach your destination more quickly. The system starts with a block on the foot of the mast, leading to a low friction ring, back to the block and then into the line guiding that is concealed under the cabin roof before it comes into the cabin and the clutch hub. It is set up separately on the starboard and port side. Weight in the boat is something we now need to think more carefully about before we cast off out to race. I always try to keep as little as possible that is not necessary on board, but this might need some more attention now. One of the major and the most important things to do is not to be on the starting line with full tanks of diesel and water. Doing that, along with replacing 60 meters of chain and 20 kilos of anchor at the bow with something smaller and lighter, will alone save us several hundred kilos. Furthermore, I will likely go through removing items that are nice to have on a weekend trip but serve no function during races. Example of this includes spare parts, all sorts of books, gas tanks, a lot of tools, etc. When this episode goes live, I've just finished preparing Noomi for a new season. Thank you for this time, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the content I create. See you again.